So most people think libido is all about hormones and emotions. But in reality, one of the biggest drivers of sexual desire is something we overlook every night: sleep. And if your sleep is off, even by a little, your libido could be too. Today, we're going to break down why better sleep might just be the most underrated relationship hack out there, and how restoring just one lost hour could boost your desire more than you expect. Ever notice how after a great night's sleep, you feel sharper, more energized, and maybe a little more connected to yourself or your partner? Or the opposite, after tossing and turning, even the idea of intimacy feels like too much. If you saw my recent video on how exercise impacts libido, you might remember I described libido like a Wi Fi signal, sometimes strong and seamless, sometimes glitchy and frustrating. Today, we're taking that idea one step further, because when it comes to sleep, it's not just the bars of your signal that drop, it's the entire network infrastructure struggling to stay online. We'll explore how sleep influences hormones, brain chemistry, self confidence, and ultimately the very connection you feel with yourself or your partner. Let's start with the foundation: how sleep builds your hormonal base. So, sleep isn't just downtime, it's prime time for hormone production and balance. And libido depends heavily on these hormones. One of the biggest players, testosterone. It's crucial for men, but it's important for women as well. Testosterone production peaks during deep sleep, especially in the early morning hours. If sleep is cut short or fragmented, testosterone levels can plummet, and along with it, your libido. And here's what the research tells us. So, a meta analysis in sleep medicine in 2021 found that total sleep deprivation for 24 to 48 hours caused significant drops in testosterone. Additionally, they found that even partial sleep loss had an effect, although smaller. And a study in JAMA in 2011 found that just 1 week of only 5 hours of sleep per night lowered young men's testosterone by 10 to 15%. And that's the equivalent of 10 to 15 years of biological aging. Additionally, a study in sleep in 2007, what they found is that older men who slept fewer hours had lower morning testosterone as well. And think about that for a second. Shaving even just a couple hours off your sleep every night could mean operating hormonally as if you're a decade older. Now, you may think, and I've been guilty of this, that you can catch up on lost sleep over the weekend and magically fix your hormones. But what the research shows is that the endocrine system doesn't fully bounce back that fast. Sleep debt has cumulative effects, especially when it becomes a habit. Now, I want you to imagine Dan. He's a 42-year-old corporate executive. Between hitting the gym early in the morning and late night emails, he's averaging about 5 to 5.5 hours of sleep a night. He's healthy otherwise, but he's noticed a subtle drop in desire. He thinks it's stress, but part of it is much more simple. Less sleep means less testosterone. And so my question for you is this: have you ever felt less in the mood after a week of poor sleep, even if everything else in your life was going fine? So sleep changes your hormone battery, but that's just one part of the equation. Now let's talk about the maintenance work your body does every night in REM sleep. Now, REM isn't just about vivid dreams. It's a scheduled tune-up for your body's sexual systems. In healthy men, REM triggers nocturnal penile tumescence, spontaneous erections 3 to 5 times per night. And women experience nocturnal genital arousal as well. Vaginal, clitoral, as well as labial blood flow increases without conscious stimulation. This isn't random. It's about keeping the tissues oxygenated, elastic, and responsive. And backing this up, a study from Basic and Clinical Andrology from 2023 found that fragmented REM sleep correlated with weaker nocturnal erections and shorter total erection time. Now, many people think that nighttime erections are only about erotic dreams, but actually they occur even without sexual dreams. It's a physiological system check, not a sign of subconscious fantasy. Think of REM sleep like sending your sexual organs to the gym every night. Low-key workouts that maintain strength and flexibility. Miss too many workouts, over time performance declines. Basically, imagine a maintenance crew that's supposed to oil all the gears of a complex machine every night. Skip the maintenance just once or twice, the gears still work. Skip it for weeks, eventually the machine jams. Now that's your body's overnight strategy. But how does missing sleep affect how you feel the next day? Beyond hormonal dips and missed maintenance, sleep deprivation wrecks your desire on a physiological and emotional level. Looking at the studies in the Journal of Sex Medicine in 2015, they found that women who slept longer reported 14% higher likelihood of sexual activity the next day. And in Frontiers of Medicine in 2023, 73% of women with poor sleep also reported sexual dysfunction. And lastly, in the Journal of Psychosomatic Research in 2023, they found that insomnia predicted lower sexual satisfaction, even when accounting for mood disorders. Now let's look at the mechanism breakdown. So first, poor sleep raises cortisol, which is a stress hormone. Additionally, it lowers dopamine, which is a pleasure and motivation neurotransmitter. And lastly, it reduces limbic system activity. And this is the part of the brain that's involved with emotional and sexual arousal. And a lot of people think If I'm tired, I'll just push through. Connection will happen naturally. But sleep deprivation blunts your emotional sensitivity. You're less attuned to pleasure and intimacy, even if your intentions are good. And so, my question for you is, when you're running on 4 to 5 hours of sleep, how much energy do you really have for playful connection? Now, missing a night or two isn't the end of the world. But what about when poor sleep becomes chronic? Let's talk about sleep disorders. Chronic sleep disorders like obstructive sleep apnea, OSA, and insomnia, they are libido killers. In fact, a study in 2018 found that men with OSA had a 2 times higher risk of erectile dysfunction. Additionally, another study in 2007 found that women with OSA reported declines across all domains of sexual function. But the good news, treatment helps. In fact, a study in sleep medicine in 2019 showed that CPAP therapy improved erectile dysfunction scores in OSA patients after only 6 to 12 months. And so I want you to imagine Chris. He's a 55-year-old who snores loudly and wakes up exhausted. He notices fading desire. A sleep study reveals OSA. 6 months into CPAP therapy, he not only feels more energetic, but connects physically with his partners in ways he hadn't in years. So chronic poor sleep doesn't just lower the signal, it can nearly shut the system down. But fixing sleep can reboot the connection. Sleep doesn't just affect your physiology, it affects your self-perception. Poor sleep increases anxiety, it lowers self-esteem, and it also heightens body image concerns. Feeling less confident often translates into lower sexual initiative, not just because the desire isn't there, but because insecurity builds emotional distance. And I want you to think about a night when you felt your best, well rested and clear minded. Now contrast that to how you feel after 3 nights of bad sleep. Who's more likely to initiate connection? Who's more likely to feel desirable? And I want you to think of Jenna. She's an energetic professional who always felt confident in her body. After just 6 months of poor sleep, she barely recognized herself. Tired, withdrawn, self critical. Improving her sleep didn't just boost her libido, it restored her sense of identity. Now let's bring it all together. So, first, hormones. Sleep is where testosterone gets built. And with maintenance, REM sleep keeps your sexual organs primed. As far as day-to-day desire, sleep impacts emotional energy and motivation. In chronic problems, sleep disorders need serious attention. And lastly, confidence. Rested people feel more connected, more alive. Listen, sleep isn't just about recovery. It's intimacy maintenance. And it's one of the most underrated tools for a healthy, vibrant connection, both with yourself as well as with others. And if this video helped you think differently about sleep and connection, hit that like button, subscribe for more science-backed health content, and drop a comment below. How has sleep, good or bad, affected your sense of connection? Thank you.